So we were wondering when you first started playing woodwinds, and that would be flute, clarinet, saxophone, family instruments, and then keyboards. Like it's mind-boggling.
Look at Anthony. I was really blessed to have a father who was a professional musician, Tom Williams, in Kansas City, Overland Park, Kansas, a suburb of Kansas City. And my dad was really a fine woodwind player. He was the tenor sax man in town, first call for all the shows. And so he started me on clarinet when I was 6 or 7. I think it was probably 7. Because I wanted to play saxophone. And he said, well, you're going to start on clarinet because that's a great way you learn the clarinet. And a lot of woodwind players do that. I took to it pretty quickly. He taught me for a while, and I got pretty good fast.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the Room.
This is Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room. Join film composer Anthony Marinelli, who programmed synthesizers for 7 songs on Thriller, and A&R veteran film producer Stephen Ray, who assisted Quincy Jones and was in the studio every day with Quincy and Michael.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room.
I could read a lot of stuff after a few years. I was lucky enough to have pretty advanced music programs at all levels of schooling I went to. My high school was very advanced musically. We had orchestra band, the traditional band, marching band, which I did all that stuff. We had, jazz outside of school. I led the jazz band. My brother did first. My older brother plays the same woodwinds and piano. So, like I say, I got the passion. I saw my dad stand up and play a solo, and my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe that. First of all, he could do that. He was my hero to the end. He still is my hero in many ways. So I had to sometimes beg him for lessons because he was so busy trying to make a living with 3 kids in middle-class Kansas. That's like he was doing 3 jobs at once, teaching 60 students after school, through the school year. And then through the summer, he would teach a lot too, and playing jobs at night. Sometimes he was selling liquor. He was selling furniture, all kinds of things to give us a really nice middle-class existence. I mean, we weren't struggling. We were really blessed in a small house. And, I look back at that. But he knew, and he was plugged into the town, obviously, and all the top musicians. He had played with the symphony as an extra on saxophones and stuff. And so eventually he sent me, after maybe by the time I was in junior high, getting to high school, to the best clarinet teacher in town, the first in the Kansas City Philharmonic. But before that, I started playing alto sax. He brought an alto sax home. I think he got in a parking lot from some guy for $100, which Dave Sanborn borrowed and didn't give back for like 6 months.
Oh.
That mother so no.
Had a sound.
Dave and I are good friends.
It
was a great instrument. It still is. I still have it. That's a whole story. And Dave has apologized so many times that it's become a running joke with us. He was not in his right mind, nor was I probably at the time. But I digress. So I started playing saxophone, which is my real love. But clarinet, I was advanced enough to win some competitions by high school. I was the first clarinetist. There weren't as many outlets. Actually at 10, I started playing saxophone with my brother's band, which was we played at the Mormon church on New Year's. What could be safer? My dad said that this is good. 10-year-old, and they loved us. We could play In the Mood and all that stuff, by 10. So I was making money at 10 playing music. I thought, gee, this is pretty cool. I mean, the thought was, I didn't have the thought that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life at that time, but I knew this started to become pretty much my identity. I really loved sports, and I was good at baseball, but I was one of the smaller kids. I didn't grow till after high school, actually. I guess thank God, because I really did, and I still love sports, but it was not to be my path. Maybe, I'm guessing the numbers may be around 12. My dad said, you ought to play flute because that's a really handy thing to have. So I got a flute. He sent me eventually, I don't remember, he gave me some lessons, but eventually within a year, he sent me to the first flautist in the Kansas City Symphony. So I'm studying privately with, at one point, the two guys that were the principals were brothers, Jim and I don't remember the other ones, Hamilton. They were great teachers and great guys.
Join us for the next episode of Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room, with your hosts, Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray. Watch our extended interviews on youtube.com/@StoriesInTheRoom. Audio-only interviews are available on all podcast networks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok @StoriesInTheRoom. For the latest news and links, visit the website, storiesintheroom.com. This podcast is produced by Christian D. Bruun and David Wolf, recorded by Audivita Studios. Additional recording by Ben Rackless. Edited by Jay Spang and Sean Hedinger. Music by Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray.